Hey everybody. So the Philadelphia Flyers have won 8 straight games now. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games, and this is a great example of too little, too late. This team is not going to the playoffs. This is a team that has had such a disappointing season, and a run like this did seem improbable. That they'd be able to win this many games in a row, given the way that they had played for most of this year. But even with the 8 game win streak, they're only 1 game above 500. They're 24, 23, and 6. They only have 54 points. They're still out 5 points out of a playoff spot, and they've played more games than almost everyone else. So other teams all have games in hand on Philly. So with this win streak, I've seen people on Twitter and stuff saying that Philly might be able to make a run. I don't understand how you can possibly look at the standings and think that Philly even has more than maybe a 5% chance of making the playoffs, and I don't even think they have that. I think their playoff chances are still virtually zero. How much longer is this going to go on? Are they going to get to 10 wins in a row? Maybe. Are they going to get to 15? Probably not. It's not going to last forever. And then when they do lose, are they going to lose 1 or 2 games, or are they going to go and lose 4 or 5 in a row and basically give back what they gained during this winning streak? It, it People are way too quick to just they see things change and they just hop right on that train, and they see Philly win a few games in a row and all of a sudden they're gonna make a playoff run. They're gonna go from being almost dead last in the East to being in a playoff team. No, it's not gonna happen. They're still too far behind. They dug themselves way too big of a hole in the beginning of the season. Unless that win streak does get to like 15 or something, then maybe they have a shot. But who are they going to catch? Columbus has lost 5 in a row. They're still at 59 points. And Columbus is too good for that losing streak to go on for much longer. They're not going to lose 10 in a row, I don't think. Columbus could get back in the win column tonight playing a Colorado team that's absolutely collapsed. So, I don't see how Philly has enough time to catch up. They've gone on this huge winning streak that's bound to end soon, and they're still only 1 game above 500. The hole is too deep for the Flyers to dig out of. Now, it is good to see them put some wins together because this is what they should have. They should have been a lot better this year than they were. That they are. They should be a playoff team. They have enough talent on that roster to be a playoff team, and they've had a really lousy season. But one winning streak isn't going to reverse everything that's going on this season. The Flyers have played some really bad hockey this year, especially defensively. They've played some really good hockey in their last 10 games, and I think Carter Hart has made a huge difference. I know that when he first came up, I expressed a lot of concern about them bringing him up. I thought it could be really damaging to his development, putting him, just throwing him to the Wolves in the NHL after not even a full season in the minors, and a pretty lousy team in front of him. But Carter Hart has been spectacular since being called up, and particularly good over the last couple of weeks. He looks like he, even at 20 years old, fully belongs in the NHL, can fully be an NHL starting goaltender, and I really am starting to believe that Philadelphia has their long-term answer at goaltender in Carter Hart, and for the next 15 years, he can be the Philadelphia Flyers starting goaltender. He's convincing me of that right now as he's playing this season. I still think maybe a full year in the minors would have been better for him, but he's proven that he can play at the NHL level by coming up and playing as well as he has. I still don't think it's enough to make the playoffs this year. I think that Philly, they've got too many teams to catch. Now, they've pulled themselves back up to where the only teams in front of them not in a playoff spot are Carolina and why am I blanking on Buffalo? Carolina and Buffalo. but you know they're still behind those two teams. And then they not only would they have to jump over and knock down those two teams, they'd have to knock a current playoff team out of the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because I think that the teams that are in the playoffs right now are going to be your playoff teams at this point. In the Eastern Conference, at least. The West is a whole different story. There's a lot going on out West. As far as the East goes, I think the teams that are in a playoff spot right now are your playoff teams in the Eastern Conference. Buffalo could potentially make a run and maybe knock out Columbus in a wild card spot. I don't know. I see Columbus turning things around a little bit. They're due for a couple of wins, and Philly's due for some losses. That's just the way it goes. Very rarely does you go straight up win after win after win. You're gonna pull back at some point. And Philly, it's just I feel like once they lose that first game to break the streak, they're probably gonna lose 3 or 4 in a row. That's just the way that this season has gone for the Flyers. So I've heard people saying, they might be able to sneak into a playoff spot or that this run might be enough to make them a playoff team. I don't see it at all. Maybe they can make me eat my words come April, but I just don't see Philadelphia making the playoffs this year, even with a long win streak like this. They dug themselves too deep of a hole, earlier this year, and they're gonna. I still think they're going to move guys at the trade deadline. Simmons is all but gone. I think there might be another couple guys that get moved. We'll have to wait and see. But despite the long win streak, which has been nice for Philly, I don't see them even really coming close to a playoff spot this year. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.